putting your dick inside of a butt is not anal sex. Real anal sex involves using your anus and rubbing against another anus, i.e. sex that involves anuses and not just penile anal sex, and therefore real anal sex. Hello everybody and welcome to WLTM Portable. Everyone's favorite
homebrew shit.
everyone's favorite music-related video game. We're gonna talk about some music.
He's at 2.
don't call attention to it.
Wait. I didn't hear what Chris was saying yet, but like my nigga's arm was just coming up a little. It wasn't doing it right. Alexander.
They changed it so it doesn't auto keep on what your default is. Delete this one and we'll run it back.
Yeah.
No, we can just like do the setup again. Just like we can just talk over it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So WLTM Portable.
Okay. We are definitely moving.
we're moving, and yeah. So
no. The password's on the screen.
We're talking about multiple
4 albums.
4 albums.
Yes.
Multiple albums.
I have autism, and it's getting worse every
second, every nano fucking
So
second.
we picked we had a theme this week. It was pick albums for your
we
friends to
never
listen to.
Yeah.
And we've done it for
I don't get it
14
was an
weeks.
What?
How fucking
The album that I picked this week. I'm Alex, by the way. The album.
Yeah, we gotta introduce this.
Shit.
We haven't introduced this in like the past 2 weeks.
That's
We have to
Alex.
actually do it.
That's Cameron.
No,
AI.
those are not the introductions. Menu Zoboot Cameron, alright? Alright,
Cruz is
Cruz,
also
introduce
here.
yourself.
Cruz.
Blueface baby.
Yeah.
And I'm Jack. Radical.
And I'm Alex. I'm the Deadlock. So the album that I picked this week is the self-titled musical collection. I don't actually know if it's the first. I don't think it's an album by this group, Sharks Keep Moving. And the name of the album is Sharks Keep Moving. It's from 1999, which was also the year that I existed. And this is an interesting album. In that I like it, and usually though that doesn't bode well for anybody else's opinions on it. And I'm gonna try to do as much damage control as I can on the front end. First thing, this self-titled album is a work of music in a minor key that moves at a slow rate, but not the slowest that we'll find in this. And is something that I like because when I first discovered this album via Discover Weekly on Spotify, the track, I believe, Sailor, the introductory track, if you will, I found out, wow, this music's really good to listen to when you're not feeling all that great. And so I would just like go to class and then come back from class and like put this album on and lay in bed, or like walk around this album playing, and that would make me feel a lot better about myself. And I thought that it was a good pace, and I liked the blend of extended instrumental passages with songs that have vocals, and I like that not only can you hear the singer's vocals, but you can there's like the words and the music work together to like create a sense of I would say actually the words and the instruments rather work together to create something akin to music, which is a rarity.
I find it
these
interesting
days.
that you suggest that it's only akin to music.
I don't want to give myself too much credit.
Right, yeah, fucking humble
I'm no
Mr.
busy
Red.
internet. I'm no busy internet music nerd or anything of this sort. I don't think I
Says
necessarily.
the same 5 adjectives over and over again, dude. He's not busy. Right?
And I personally, and also just a fun fact, some of the gentlemen from this band went on to form a band that was a lot more popular, called Minus the Bear, which is something that some of you may have heard of or may not have heard of.
No.
But
the crossover.
The crossover appeal, which is just this sped up a little bit. And I think that, there's always a lot of people who are like, damn, it's jazz influence, and it's like, this is the influence for some math rock stuff that came. And I think it's just a good album. I don't know if necessarily if anybody's like, yeah, it all started with Sharks Keep Moving. And I don't think they'd necessarily be correct to do so. But I think it's a good album, and I think it's a really good album for when you're just not feeling yourself, and you're just trying to like lay in bed.
I always feel myself.
And listen to some shit that doesn't require a lot of brain power, that you can just kind of put on. And in this day and age, I think everybody can benefit from having a little bit of a lack of brain power.
Lack of brain power. Yeah.
And just like the Sharks, maybe this album can help you keep moving. And I would say I'm interested to hear what you guys would think about it, but I'm not really. But for the formality of the show, I guess we have to hear your guys' opinions on it.
I don't know why you think you picked some like heinous shit this week.
You're contractually obligated to have people talk about the music you picked.
I picked some shit that I didn't put enough.
I had to sign for 3 more seasons.
I didn't put enough. Full disclosure, I didn't put enough thought into picking. What I did was I didn't take some.
If she breathes, she's
a thought.
I didn't take some business advice from a member of the podcast about what album to pick, and I'm regretting that I didn't. But this is what I picked instead of Damage Control, only to find that this was maybe perhaps not the what's the word I'm looking for? Like integrated pick. This isn't the pick that necessarily reflected the best upon me or even the podcast as a whole.
Or the board of trustees.
I'm really glad you didn't pick Home Alone. So we didn't just have like 3 things for my top 42 just on a week. That would have been troll as fuck.
But as is the format of the show, what did you guys think?
I'll go
Sharks
first.
Keep Moving, debut album, 1999. Really shit album cover.
I'll keep the podcast moving by talking about how I feel about this. I like indie math rock. It's pretty good. When I was first listening to it, I looked down at one point and I saw first instrumental, and it was like, I'm being trolled. There was an instrumental track before this, and I was like, haha, they pranked me by having it so that the second instrumental is before the first instrumental on the album. So
well, it's actually just the order they were recorded in. It's not really a joke, actors. But
it's a funny.
Well, it was
we'll
a
get
funny
to jokes later in the show with other people's albums.
Damn! Shit already! Oh, okay. Yeah. I enjoyed it. It was pretty mellow, but I did like that there were times when they spiced it up a little bit by like they just shove in like a little harsh chord in the middle of like an otherwise like mellow passage, which
I liked that it got loud but didn't get fast.
Yes.
Your mother got loud without me getting fast.
It's just so fucking funny, Cameron. Holy shit.
Do you get it? It's a joke.
It's so fucking
It's
funny.
a 69 reference.
It's so nice. It is. God, you get it, gamers? Jack, keep going.
Cameron actually has an at the improv theater in the big theater where he
Cameron,
has,
you know it's low when the first your mom joke is you and not Jack. Right? Just because Alex isn't being tasteful doesn't mean you need to not be tasteful. All right?
When am I ever tasteful?
When have I not
Almost all the time.
Oh wow!
What do you? Oh shit, man! I mean, thank you, Chris.
I thought I was being tasteful, but Jack, see, like there was a harsh chord sometimes to mix it up.
Well, I mean, like there was just like little moments of like where they'd like, it's a very like math rocky thing to just like, to have like a steady groove, but then to like just throw something in randomly, and that's just like. That's kind of off-putting, where it's like, most of these tracks are pretty mellow, and they have like their riff that they'll sit on for a while, but then they'll just like throw something in where it's like harsher, just for like a single note. It's like, I don't remember exactly which track I remember where that happened, and I think it happened more than once.
Yeah, that happens at least
I really
twice.
hope I'm not making a big deal out of something that happened like once on
I
the
think it
album.
happens
No,
about
it
2 or
happens.
3 times.
Okay,
It
good.
happens. It's definitely a trademark of the album because everything else sounds very similar.
Yeah.
This album is very indicative of like the old wave of math rock, or very representative, I should say, of like what the old wave of math rock was like.
Yeah.
I don't know of a lot of like newer math rock bands that are doing this kind of thing. Well, that's a very interesting take you have, Jack.
Yeah, I know it's not interesting at all, which is why
Like
Sound
that.
out.
Yeah, are there any other angles?
Yeah, you got anything else?
I like how at the end of the third instrumental when it just got all fuzzy for just like the last minute of it. That was cool.
They
Oh,
really
there's a
worked it out
long
on
season
there.
song on this. Fuck yeah. Oh, fuck yeah.
I like that some of the stuff is like ship themed, but only like 2 songs.
Yeah.
Is it ship theme?
Like at least the title.
Sailor, Open Bay, Jets, Jets, Jets.
Yes,
Tired.
jets are related to ships because they're both jets and ships are both vehicles.
Good job, Jack.
Cruz, what you think of it?
Vehicles in which I express my opinion. So so this the form of like guitar work I really like. It's make a riff, make another riff, and go to random number generator. Go to what's it called? Random.org. Go to random.org.
Yeah.
Go to 1 through 8. Hit that 3 times, and put the chord in one of those songs, and then yeah, I really like listening to riffs. Chords are thing of the past, and most of the whole album is just riffs, and sometimes they just play the riffs over and over and over again until the song ends. It's pretty fucking neat. It's riveting.
Neato. Incognito.
And I didn't know that there was a first and second instrumental. Oh, I knew that I listened to instrumentals, but I didn't know that they were titled second, first, third. Isn't that fucking funny?
I find it interesting that there's already a lot of the songs, even that have words, are almost instrumentals because it's not like a verse chorus
Yeah,
thing.
he talks
So it's like almost
twice, right?
They're
Yeah,
like almost all
he does like
instrumental.
2 verses in the whole album.
Yeah, I think that's really what for the better, to be honest. So
This is another one of those albums that
he's probably
like I
the
thought
lead, right?
was I thought was instrumental. I think he does play lead guitar. I think there's only 3 members in this band. I think it's 1 guy on guitar. Maybe it's 2 guys
There's
on
2
guitar. Maybe it's
guitars.
4 members.
There's 2 guitars.
Yeah, there's 2 guitars.
It might be 4
I
members.
can't
remember.
hear bass because I'm literally the worst human being. So I don't know if
There's
there's
There's not a whole lot of bass on this album. Well, there's like bass on like some of it, but a lot of the times it gets kind of.
But I do hear that there are drums. And
the slap line of the guitar.
I don't feel the mathy. I feel like
This is
I'm
what old
just
math
more
is.
attuned to the new wave of math and how ridiculous they get. I guess if you play a couple riffs, that's ridiculous. But the time signatures didn't feel weird to me. It felt kind of natural. So
This is the era where they call this like jazz fusion.
oh,
Like that's what I'm like. That's the kind of like when they say math rock in 1999 isn't the same thing that math rock in 2018 is.
got it.
Which is another point we're gonna get to on a different album later.
Got it. Other than that, I dug the instrumentals, and I don't know. I guess I wouldn't say that the guy needs to never talk, but I guess knowing that he does talk and knowing that it's not the best or a thing that I enjoy at all is indicative to the learning experience.
Long
If
dick
someone-
nigga shouldn't be
if
for the long
there's gonna-
coffee.
If there's gonna be a dude who's gonna sing on this album, I'm glad it's at least that guy and not like
Charlie
the
Sheen.
dude from the Mars Volta.
He's a lot
I think
better.
that-
He sounds really good. You're
I
just
think his,
saying-
I think no, I like as in I think if you had this exact instrumental with Cedric's fucking vocals, it wouldn't sound
Oh no.
like that's what, like his tone matches
But
the music
I
very
don't
well.
get the. We're not. It's the shark in the room, right? We have to talk about the about, right? I don't get the comparison
I don't think anybody has to talk
To
about the
compare,
album. I don't.
I don't get the comparison to karate.
I think the comparison is I think Karate maybe dropped an album in 1999, and this dude who probably edits an indie magazine wrote an article.
So Karate started dropping albums in like '95, and so I have to say that because I was curious too.
Let's preface with the fact that me and Cameron are karate fans, karate fiends.
So I actually when I was listening to the album the first time, it auto-played into one of their EPs. And what I found from and then like I was
Sharks you moving or karate?
Well, they have 2 EPs. I don't know if you see them.
Oh, also there's no karate music on Spotify. That's my bad. Keep going.
Oh no, yeah, one of these guys' EPs. And I was like, wait, this sounds like a karate song. And from skimming through both of their EPs, I found out that their EPs both sound a lot like karate. And just that this album does not at all.
Okay.
So yeah, like they're like Desert Strings and Drifters. Actually sounds like a lot like karate. It's pretty similar. But yeah, so I mean, maybe the comparison came from there, or the non-comparison rather, or whatever the fuck they meant by that word. But it
uncomparable.
But it didn't show forth on this actual album. So I mean, it probably has something to do with that. But probably no one else actually like listened to those. So
yeah, listen to extra stuff. How to do that?
Yeah, and I only listened to it like on pure accident. But I guess it bore fruit. So
yeah, input, content.
See.
Okay.
Radical.
So I will have to check those out because one of them has some songs fit for my radio show. We got 14 minutes. God damn. We got 11. This is nuts, dude. Even if I don't even like it, I just put it on. You know.
Hell yeah.
What did you think overall, Cameron?
So I mean, like, I still don't know why you treated like this is about to be some egregious shit because I mean it was just like, I don't know. It's about what I. Well, it's not what I expected because you're talking about like there's gonna be some egregious shit, but it's probably like the most benign thing I've ever heard. Like I mean, his talking was a little. I mean, it was pretty chill.
This is that tumor. You go to the hospital, get it checked out, and you think it's cancer, but it's actually just fine. But you like still need a surgery to get it out.
Type shit.
It's that kind of benign.
Like I don't know. It's just like I gave it a 3. Like it was just. For a second, I was thinking about giving it a 4, but nah, it was. I mean, I kind of like it's just. It doesn't feel special.
Yeah.
It's just like. Obviously, if you hear like this particular things just grab your emotions, then it's gonna feel special. But to me, it was just like, all right, you know.
That's the thing. This
is
mad
chill.
Just keep.
And I don't remember what any song sounds like.
This is a mood album. This is an album that you only put on in a mood. It's not one of those you like. This is an album that you have it on. You know, maybe you don't listen to it necessarily, or you don't listen to it in the same way that you like. I don't know. I guess listen to other stuff. It's like that kind of vibe. But it is music, which is a step forward.
Step forward from what?
Oh, we'll get there.
Well, since you're the one who seems to think there's some egregious shit in this playlist, I'll let you pick the next one. So you can, you can choose.
Well, the egregious shit should go last, right?
Yeah, I know. He can choose the.
I still don't know who he's talking about. It's either you or me, Jack.
That's why I'm letting him pick the next one, so he can pick the non-egregious one next.
Does anybody else have anything else they want to add about average the album?
Maybe we should just about the album. I really have nothing to say about this album.
It's average.
The cover's boring.
Yeah, the cover's actually.
We should probably go next since that's the least likely to be.
The cover is actually like my least favorite part about the album. I don't really get it, and I also really don't like that they do that.
Doesn't have anything to do with sharks or movie.
They do that '90s thing where they have like a title bar that is like is completely separate from the album. So like I don't like it. I mean, I understand kind of why they would have it in an era where you want actually like want to sell CDs, but I don't like that that's there.
Yeah. I don't like Strange Borders.
Shout out to CDs.
You put this out. Shout out to Status Recordings. Status Recordings was the record label.
Nice.
But, if nobody else has anything they want to add, we can talk about Clinging to a Scheme by the Radio Department,
Might as well.
which I think was Cruz's pick this week.
It was,
Yes.
but
On
it's
on the
obvious
Radio
as shit.
Department, that's the record label that put it out, was the band.
You know, it's it's a DIY. You gotta do it yourself, Doug. You know.
Is that what that stands for?
What?
I always
Conversations.
Okay, so "Clinging to the Scheme" by the Radio Department is an album that was recommended to me in the wave of, in high school, junior year. I want to say junior year, where the end of junior year. I was recommended.
So particular.
It's because every time I listen to this album, I feel like I'm transported to my room back in Texas, in Corpus Christi.
God.
Like I can feel it. I'm like, holy
I
shit.
respect that.
That's every time I listen to "A Long Drive," "Clinging to a Scheme," and "In the Airplane Over the Sea," which
Well,
is the three
what a
albums
motley
that
crew.
are
The three horsemen of the
the
apocalypse.
three albums that have influence on music taste the most, and for better or for worse.
Isn't that just the same album 3 times anyway? No wonder he likes lo-fi
Okay,
hip hop.
so that was a joke. So you got to go to the laugh department for that, but we're at the radio department. So this is
He's got jokes.
one of my favorite albums of all time. I think it's always in the top 10 if I don't forget about it, because it's just been so long. I usually don't listen to it a lot. When I listen to it into a high burst. I'll listen to it over and over and over again for 2 days, and then not listen to it for a year or 6 months, because I don't want to get worn out, because it's pretty fucking good. And I think this kind of if it wasn't for this, I wouldn't really be into bands like St. Catherine and the likes. And St. Catherine's for another time, but that's my favorite sleeping music of all time. It puts me right to bed. But this does not. This is just every song's a banger. It's first of all, I didn't know these people from Sweden. Thought they were American.
Yeah, Swedish. They try very hard to make you think they're American.
So
but,
they
but
worked.
alas.
It worked on me because I got those years. And then so they hit me with the stuff I love, which is putting in the audio clips that no one cares about, but I love listening to.
Nope.
And then they put beats behind it, and then they start singing, and oh god, it sounds so good. And I think this is the only shoegaze that I've listened to, and I haven't ever ventured out.
I would say this is barely shoegaze, but
Yeah, Mr. Rate Your Music over here. Give us the
Yeah.
Give us
I mean,
breakdown.
I'm not
I've heard this been called many things. So
I don't know. When I think of shoegaze, I just think of
It
Loveless.
says
So
dream pop and shoegazing. There's a subgenre
Yeah.
in the UK. Okay. Shoegazing?
Yeah, continue, Cruz.
I think it's really good. And it's fucking great. I don't know what he's smoking, but I want some. And that's
Every time I
how
listen to it, I always think
that-
it's car
Is that
exhaust because of
shotgunning?
the way the pipe looks.
that is a shotgun barrel.
Yeah,
that is
shotgunning, hell yeah.
that is a soldier from the Vietnam War smoking weed out of a shotgun barrel.
What a Chad.
That's just what they did. That's why it's called
So,
shotgun.
which is another little thing they did to try very hard to make you think that they were American, but knowing that they're not American actually makes the album far more interesting as it happens, because they just decided to troll by just adding in certain clips, which is very amusing. But
And I think that the title track is really good. It really grips you into the groove. This album is just it puts you in the feeling,
track.
and it
Title.
lets you roll.
There's
And
the
I
Title
track.
track.
I
You
think
mean
Cruise.
you mean the opening track?
the not the title track. I think that this is the feeling I get that Alex got when he listens to Sharks Keep Moving with 2 verses and 3 chords, and now I understand why he likes it. I'm good. What do you guys think?
I think we gotta destroy the bogus capitalist process that's destroying youth culture.
That is destroying youth
It's
culture.
so good. It's so good.
Especially since
Easily
they're
the
fucking
worst.
Swedish.
That is
The
the
worst part of the
best.
album.
That is the best like
It's
old
so
audio
fucking
clip
funny.
I've ever heard. It's
so good. It's way
It's
too
like
funny.
you found the stoner and he's on camera. I can see him. I see the visual. I see the TV
Yeah.
and it's curved edges. It's a CRT and it's raining and it's like and he's standing out there with a rain jacket and maybe a fucking pitchfork. He's like, I think we have to destroy the bogus.
The bogus capitalist.
Bogus.
Youth culture. God, it's so good.
It's so fucking. It's way,
It's
Stupidest part of the album.
literally the best part of the album.
way too good. Because I refuse to believe that these fucking Swedish people like I'm pretty
Because
sure
that's
they
American
did it-
culture. That's
Yeah,
like
I'm pretty sure that they did it like tongue in cheek, but I mean, who knows? It doesn't really matter. It's funny either way.
it's so good.
But holy
And
shit!
he sounds like he's high too. It's
Yeah.
oh, it's perfect.
So it's such a good thing. Like you find out what the music sounds like, and you just get hit with a little bit of sauce,
That's
and then it's just the rest of the album just
I
goes.
think it's this album is the reason why I like those like audio clips from lo-fi hip hop beats to study and chill to. You know, it's coming back to me, dude. This is it. God.
Every time I go
My
on the
third
train,
eye's been
almost
opening
every
way
day
too
I see
much.
my name.
Cameron, you're a fucking animal.
It's I'm like I want to know who that is, but like I also don't.
No, I don't. I don't.
Like I actually really don't.
The
But
image of him in my head is more important than anything. for sure.
exactly. I don't want to know what he does. Like what he looks like, what he does for a living. It doesn't matter.
He'll live forever on in my fucking brain.
All I know is that he writes, and he earned it. So you know, inspiration.
All right, so what did y'all think?
Well, let one of these jokers go.
I liked the vocals and the instruments were all right, but sometimes a little. I'm trying to think what the word would be. It like felt like the instrumentals didn't really match what was going on sometimes. But I liked the vocals a lot. I like whatever editing process they have to do to make his voice sound that fucking gentle and delicate. Heaven's on Fire, the opening bit about the fucking capitalist regime or whatever the fuck was easily the worst thing that I had to
The
listen to in this
bogus
album.
capitalist
Bogus
process
process.
is destroying youth
The closing
culture.
track,
It truly is destroying youth culture.
the closing track is incredible. It's a really good vibe. It's very like almost like classical music, a lot of this. Cause I don't know, there's just like piano bits, which really I don't know. And like sometimes you just have like a weird industrial track. I don't know. I thought the vocals sounded really good, and I think that this is an above average album, but I don't think any of it is enough in the same vein for me to ever have as much of an emotional attachment or reaction as Cruz has. But I think that You Stopped Making Sense, Never Follow Suit, and This Time Around are beautiful songs. This doesn't sound like an album that was made in 2010.
Yeah, true.
That's what this sounds like this sounds like a relic from like the mid 90s in like the best way possible. Like this is something they would have done in the mid 90s, but I guess Sweden's just far behind.
Yeah, probably a good thing that they're far behind.
Yeah, it's
Like
like
just
how
with the Throwback Thursdays.
yeah, it's like how like there's countries that like they're just now getting to like the gangster film era when we finished that
Right.
shit in like the 70s. It's that kind of reaction. Thought it was good. Thought it was inoffensive. 7 out of 10. Clinging to a Scheme, Radio Department. Or Radio Dept.
Depth.
More like radio.
I don't like the album. I don't like the album cover because I don't like the way the title font is. I feel like the title would have worked better to be in the bottom left, like not just on the guy's face, but like rather off to the side. But that's just me.
I-
They do things differently in Sweden.
I think the cover could just like not have text on it and be good.
Yeah, actually, if it was just that picture, it'd be fucking legendary album cover, and it still is. It's just less.
Yeah, this album. I also think it's mostly just inoffensive. Actually, it's pretty good. I like the chill, kind of laid back, hip hop esque beats on some of these tracks. Like it is lo-fi hip hop, but it's like listening to like Never Follow Suit, and it's just like the beat is just so relaxed, and it's like I can chill. I can chill with this. Though like the only song that really struck me as I was listening to it the first time, like, oh, I like this a lot, is David, and it's because it has that fucking synth sound on the snare, which it's like that's like extra like, oh, that's that is like that is me, that is my kind of music right there.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But I also like the closing track, and yeah, for the most part, really good. I'm trying to I think I could tell that the guy wasn't American by his singing.
I could.
Big brain.
Okay,
I had no
for
idea.
music listener.
This was the first album that we had that was by somebody, well, not from America, where I didn't know until I looked it up. Because he actually just sounds like he speaks really good English. Which was,
With that many vocal effects, I mean.
And also just the way it sings. Like I feel like even people from America who make music in that kind of vein, like just kind of drag out their voice in like some kind of way that the tone like tends towards like this.
I guess
It all blends together. Man.
I didn't. It's not like I could tell like where they were from. It's just there was something about it where I could feel that there was something off about the vocals, and like knowing that they're foreign explains it like away.
Sweet.
So I can't. Yeah, foreign. Everyone who's not American is just foreign.
True.
Please
Build a wall.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to Scandinavia.
Fucking Scandinavia. What a
Yeah.
big meme. Yeah, so this album, I believe, I can barely remember like how I found it. I think I either found it on Tumblr or YouTube back in high school. I really don't know anymore, but I don't remember how I felt about it then, other than, of course, I must have liked it. I'm still listening to it today. It's on my top 42, which it is. It's chilling at 30. So this is on the top 30 bangers. And yeah, I don't know. It's just super like happy chill music. Is essentially like if you're to like multiply those two in numerical form, this would be like the highest number. I think like highest numbered album I think like that I've ever heard. It's probably just up there like in terms of in existence. Like it's just I don't know, it just puts you in a really good mood. And the cover's lit.
Just brings me down.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I wouldn't necessarily describe it as too happy either.
Nah, it's happy for me, nigga. Y'all just some
Y'all
lames.
sad.
This is the
can't
kind
always
of
be
like
sad.
it's either gonna bring you down or it's that like bittersweet happy. Like the end of the movie where he doesn't get the girl, but he realizes that he never wanted the girl all along. Like all he wanted to do was for her to be happy, and then they play like the closing track over the credits.
I don't know about any of
Are
that.
you talking about a specific film with a handsome young man?
I don't know. I don't think you were in any movies.
Dang. Kisses?
No, I was not talking about her.
Oh, I was talking about La La Land, but
No, I never saw that movie.
La La Land.
it's really good.
Yeah, I never
Actually, no,
seen that movie.
this should have been the soundtrack for her. This is the kind of music for people who want to fuck robots.
I don't know. I don't think so.
What is her?
Her's kind of a weird movie. It's about a guy who falls in love with the AI
With his
operating
computer.
system.
Yeah, it's a really good movie. You should watch it. It's on Netflix. I'll watch it with you.
Yeah, it's definitely an Alex movie. And if you're gonna watch it, you should watch it with Alex.
It's worth watching. That and The Lobster are the two Alex movies that exist.
I'm a lobster.
The Lobster is, it's worth watching also. We gotta save
got
that
a
for the
hard
movie
shell and-
podcast.
I got a hard
Yeah.
shell and big appendages.
Speaking of
shit.
big appendages,
Damn,
All right,
he plays
all
the
right.
lobster.
Speaking of big,
Oh, when me and Matt were driving down to Columbia on Tuesday, no, on Wednesday. I was driving and I
Is
was
that
like,
before
okay,
or after
I am
you
going
realized
to.
you love Bluffton?
It was before we realized that we love Bluffton, but so I was like, okay, I'm driving, so I'm going to put on my music. I'm going to put it on the podcast playlist because I need to listen to this, right?
Yeah.
And and this is the first one in the playlist, and so I put it on, and Matt is just like, this is so boring, and why is he so sad? And I'm like, okay, I'll put on something else, Matt.
and you put on the
you
second
put on
album.
the body.
And
No,
then
I
you
just
put
put on
Shark
something
Feet.
completely different because
Then you
I
put on
like.
Shark Feet moving, and he was like, "Let's go back."
Yeah, but with Matt, I don't think it's even like he's just so used to being the person who decides what we listen to. that
Yeah,
it's
he
like-
didn't even listen to it. He just
Yeah.
like, this
He
is
was
not
just
what I
like-
want to listen to right now.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is, therefore it is bad.
yeah.
Type shit.
Or not to throw shade.
He's
Yeah.
not even here. He's not even here to defend himself,
He
I'd say
did.
it to his
He did
face.
quit.
and he's got the hands to do it.
He's trying to get me to play Jackbox with him, but
I said yes, but then he
Schedule
never invited
confliction.
me.
Yeah, I said yes, and then he said wait 1 minute, and then 10 minutes went by. and I
Oh,
was like,
that's exactly what I told Jack. I was like, he said, wait 1 minute, it's 10 minutes, so we're starting the podcast.
Yeah. I don't fucking know. Like, I don't know what his maneuver was there, but I don't know. Back to the album. The synth at the end of Memory Loss is the most beautiful noise
It's
I've
so
ever
good.
heard.
It's so good.
It's fucking way too good. That like that shit is insane. Like I just don't know. It's actually bonkers, and it's there for like just the right amount of time to where it's like holy fuck, and then the album keeps going and then it ends, and I don't know. I just really like this album. It's like I don't know. I've listened to like some other shoegaze quote unquote. You know, so like I know Mr. Ring
It's,
Music
it's
is
not
gonna
shoegaze.
is gonna object. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck it is.
It's just
I
like,
don't-
it's like
some shit, I don't
indie.
know.
Yeah, it's basically just like indie pop with a little more rock elements.
For a second there, I wasn't sure if you were like actually, you guys are like throwing shade at me for saying it wasn't shoegaze.
No,
I mean,
it's
I
not.
don't
Though.
fucking know.
I've
I have
listened
no
to shoegaze and
I have no
saying it.
reason to like argue with you whether or not this is shoegaze. I
I
don't
think
fucking
vocally
know.
it gets kind of close, but like instrumentally, it's kind of off the mark. At least I don't know. Based on just that's my opinion, obviously. You know, they can call it whatever they want.
Alright.
But, no,
Yeah.
I think I feel
Unfortunately,
like... Go ahead, sorry.
I front loaded my my listening through the week, so I didn't actually listen to these albums for the past like 2 days. Oh shit. So
Well, someone's got to front load it.
I've forgotten a lot about it. Yeah, someone's got to front load it since Grease is just hard trolling. Well, what are you
I
gonna
felt
do?
awful all week, dude.
Calling out for it.
No, yeah, I don't know if you because when I'm sick, like music just doesn't like sound the same. It's fucking strange.
I think I
Well,
I'm
felt the
also not
same
gonna sit
way.
in bed and just throw the shit on, you know.
I felt the same way about this album that I think Jack felt about the Hot Flash Heat Wave from like a while, like
Oh,
a few,
yeah.
like 6 weeks, where it was like,
What do you mean, Jack
It's
wants to
pretty
go to
good.
the concert with me? He said.
no. Jack, I remember the exact words were, "It's pretty good, but I don't think that it's like above a 7." Because we were raving about that one because we all thought it was extremely good. Then Jack was like, "It's good, but a 9? Come on." That's kind of
Yeah,
why
I was
it's good.
very.
It's
lukewarm
really
on that
solid,
one.
but I don't necessarily think that there's anything about this that if you put on another album that was in this same genre, like I don't know if I'd be able to tell the difference between this and like
But
something
didn't you
else.
say it was off key, so it would be different?
I think that there's one 4 months in the shade is like they put it on the wrong album. 4 months in the shade was supposed to be on their like industrial side project. That song wasn't supposed to make it on this album, and that's the only. I mean, what it is that the vocals are the same on everything, like to the point where it sounds like he just like spoke in one tone into like a robot machine, and then they just kind of typed the words in and it went. Like the vocals sound identical across every track, which I think is impressive. But I think that, like, I don't know. I just think that it's pretty good. I don't know that there's anything about it that I'm like, this isn't something that I've heard in music that's in this same vein before. But that's not something that I think should lower the score. I just don't think there's anything that gets added. 7.3 maybe, somewhere in that range. That's just
Interesting.
my opinion.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you have an emotional attachment to it,
Yeah.
you can have like the sharks keep moving. I also don't necessarily think that sharks keep moving has anything that I've like never heard before in music, but I also just have an emotional attachment to the album, having listened to it as much as I have in the kind of circumstances. So that's just kind of the way it goes sometimes.
Yeah.
That's the way.
Anyone got any other things to say? Are we just gonna keep quoting old broomstick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got my clout.
Alright, Jack.
All right.
You trying to draw straws or what?
Alex, which one do you think is more troll? This is the
Well,
moment
I
of
think-
truth, I guess.
I mean, you guys just pick between the two of you. It doesn't really matter to me.
Oh no.
Let's go with Slint first. Let's go with Slint.
All right, we'll do
Go
this one
Slint first. Alright, best for
Alright.
last.
Yeah. We always do the best for last. We always do 45 minutes, hour. That's what we do. We do 45 minutes, 3 albums, hour for the last one.
So the album I've picked this week is Spiderland by Slint, which is their second and final album. They were never a big deal
Rest in
while
peace.
they were around. They were just guys in their garage making the music, and then they broke up, and then all their friends from the scene got big and were like, "Hey, Spiderland's really good. Listen to Spiderland," and that's how Spiderland became the cult classic it is. This album is on the Mucore and other kinds of if you look at like list of the best and shit,
It's
You'll
on.
see this.
It's on almost every thread. Also, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Is that them?
Yes, that is
Yeah.
them.
That's awesome. That's my favorite
Yeah.
part. I love seeing just the homies and they're on that fucking lake. That's awesome. Okay,
Yeah.
Keep going.
So yeah, this album is I mean, I don't really. I've been slowly working my way through like the Mucore list, and I don't really like get attached to much of it. Most of it is just like, okay, this is all right. Like for example, Loveless, which I brought up earlier. It's like I listened to that, I was like, I don't get it. I don't get Loveless. But this album hit me when I listened to it. I was just like, damn. And I did the deep dive. I listened to their only 2 other releases, which was an EP called the self-titled EP and their first album called Tweez. Neither of which are really great. The Tweez is like it's a bit more wild. You can tell that they were just like dicking around while they were recording. Yeah. I like this album a lot. It's probably like the only thing that you could call like post rock that I really got into, but even this is like proto post rock.
Yeah, can we talk about the genre?
Yeah, we can
Besides
talk-
that,
can we
it's
talk-
ASMR rock.
Can we talk about some specific shit about?
Wikipedia said that it's credited as like by some people as being the first ever like true post rock album. I saw that.
It's
All the
Reading
people
the page.
all the people who really developed like the post rock genre in the late 90s and early 2000s were influenced by this.
It's
but
the
this
kind of
was
thing
Before that,
where it's the same thing with Sharks Keep Moving. What post rock was in 1991 is not what post rock is in 2018.
Yeah, cause I mean, you listen to this and clearly it's not like post rock as in post rock today.
It's not at all.
Yeah.
And the only reason they call it post rock is because everything that had happened beforehand is like this is new shit compared to that.
yeah.
Like if this album came out if this album came out in '96, they would have just called it like post grunge, because that's like they're from Seattle. I thought I remember reading they were from Seattle.
They're from Chicago, I believe.
Chicago.
Or, like somewhere near Chicago.
Oh dang.
But they're in the reemergence of the alt rock scene, and honestly, post rock. I think post rock as a genre name makes a lot more sense for what we call post rock in 2018, because that's actually substantially different from stuff. I feel like this isn't that substantially different from shit that was even going to come out like
I
at
get
the
what
time
you're
or a little
saying,
bit after.
but I really think that the only song on this album, like that, like especially when you listen to like the first 2 songs of the album, there is like a degree where it's like, okay, this isn't too far from like a Nirvana, right?
Yeah, it just
But,
sounds like.
but I think that with songs like Don Mon, Washer, and For Dinner, it is really clearly a predecessor of what we now call post rock. Because like the way those songs are structured and like their priorities with like the guitar playing and everything is very post rocky.
Proto post rock.
I think in hindsight, calling it proto post rock is fair. In the same way that like the niggas that spoke like proto like Russian, like they didn't call themselves proto Russian, but I mean that's just proto Russian now, you know. So
Yeah.
it works the same way.
And like also people also label it post hardcore because they came out of like the Chicago post hardcore scene. And like there is influence from that clearly in some of these tracks, but like
Clearly.
I mean, like just like listen to the vocals on the first track, like
That's what I'm saying. He just screams when he's not talking. He's screaming.
Yeah.
He has 2 modes.
But yeah, I think proto post rock is probably the best way to describe it.
It's
Yeah.
just, I still think it's just like, if anything, it's almost proto grunge. It literally just sounds like what's going to come out for the next 6-7 years, which I guess makes it proto something. But it's the kind of thing where
But
if you look at like proto punk, you listen to proto punk and then you listen to like punk music and you're like, okay, I can see that. But you listen to this and then you listen to like Youth Pictures, and it's like I
could see the link. Like it's like
you're operating on a different
if
plane
this
than anybody
entire
else.
album sounded like if every song of the album was Nosferatu Man, I would say like you could say this is like proto grunge, or proto post grunge, but like it's not like
Did
the
you
rest
listen
of
to
the
any of the
tracks.
instrumentals? Like the first 3 songs are all at least the first the first 2 songs, and then was it the last one? Yeah, the last one. Like when they actually start playing instruments, it's just like the heavier side of alt rock sound. But I guess that's what they. I guess
I mean,
at the
that's-
time, what are you gonna call it other than post rock? I guess. Youth Pictures didn't come out in 1991. It came out in like 2006.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from, but I disagree with it.
It's like post new wave.
Dog fuck a genre. What is this?
Post punk.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what it is, isn't it? I don't know. I just think that
Post hardcore.
I think that there's certain genre tags that don't age well when you hear what a genre becomes.
Oh, like yeah, that's true.
It's like how prog rock from the
Yeah.
1970s and shit is, and you think of and prog rock today are 2 different things, like 2 completely different things.
Yeah,
And
but
it's like, it's just like, what are you gonna call it at the time? Because like it's progressive compared to
that's
new shit.
that's one of those cases where it's this like both with post rock and with progressive rock. Those are cases where it's like, at first they are terms that describe like methodology and like the approach.
Well, I understand progressive
then
rock more because
eventually they become things that describe sound and like.
well, the thing about progressive rock is that just in the name, it just implies that it's something that's going farther than like whatever other rock is.
Yeah, but like
post rock implies that rock ended, and so it should be a separation.
Like post rock's name is bullshit no matter which way you look at it. But like
This
the
isn't
way-
your dad's post rock.
the
Maybe
things
it's
that
your
like
dad's.
you would think like the things that like I would associate like with what the name post rock implies to me is like, okay, it's related to rock in some way, but there's some like clear distinction in like how the rock stuff is being used, right? And you could and you're probably right to argue that like on a track like Nosferatu Man, then that is not significantly different. But I think that the like excessive use of like harmonics in like Breadcrumb Trail or like the approach to guitar playing in like Donomon, it's like those are very clearly separate from like mainstream rock trends, even stuff after,
I mean, I guess I see where you're coming from, but I just don't feel like it's like that detached. Like I feel like it's not detached enough to be credited with inventing a genre. Be credited as one of the like found cornerstones of a genre that in less than 20 years isn't gonna sound anything like this. Less than 10 years even. But I don't know. That's just me. That's only one problem I have with this. One of several problems I have with the album, but that's definitely one.
Well, I mean, I don't think genre labels matter much at all.
Well, I know. I think the genre labels matter when you're gonna listen to an album that's credited as inventing the genre. where there's people who will argue
It's-
that the
Yeah, I
genre
mean,
doesn't exist without the
The
album.
thing, it's not like it's not Mr. I forget his name. It's not like it's not these people's fault that like.
No, I'm not saying it's their fault. I'm just saying that
Yeah.
it's not a problem when it's like if an album comes out and it's like, oh, this is a good post-hardcore album, and you listen to it and it's a jazz album, it's like, okay, well, you're just fucking stupid. But when it's like post-rock doesn't exist without Slint, and then you listen to it and it's like like okay, I guess, but then
Well, I mean,
it's
Like,
just
it
I
could
don't know.
be true in
I
some
think even
sense, but
viewing like that is kind of bullshit because like you could say like it's like just something doesn't have to be entirely the thing
for it to be influential
essential
to the thing.
to the thing, you know?
No, I'm just saying that there are people, there is at least a class of people who will say that without Spiderland, you do not have post rock.
I mean,
And that
that's
this is the
probably
cornerstone.
actually true though. That's like if you like go to all the early post rock like that actually sound like post rock, and you ask them, hey, what's your influence? Like a lot of them will say, hey, Spiderland by Slint.
I just so the thing is that I have to imagine that what post rock is more commonly known for today comes from some like amount of, I don't know if I'd say like a movement in the genre, but like you don't get to what post rock is today from this in one swoop. Somebody gets influence that's like they keep going farther and farther away from this to the point where like you have to stop and think, well, was the shit that like actually came out after this, was it actually post rock in the first place? Because I don't know, there's bands that are releasing shit around the same time, maybe like 5 to 6 years after, which is post rock, which is way more similar to post rock of like the 2000s and 2010s. That I don't necessarily think that unless their only influence is that they heard this album and it's like, we're gonna play guitar. I just don't see it. It's just me. Having listened to a lot of post rock, I just don't. I've always intentionally avoided listening to the cornerstone type of stuff because I know that that's the opinion I have on it because I've listened to some of it and just don't see it. But that's just me being a
It's a spooky ass genre, anyways.
But there's other problems with the album. But that's just the tip of the iceberg, if you will.
I mean, you're allowed to get into it.
I didn't know if anybody else wanted to talk first, and then I'll.
Yeah, if we want to like intro more, I'll remember how.
If anything else to say, these guys are probably like at our age when this album came out, and they had no like influence, so they just were like, we'll break up, I guess. Yeah, that's.
I did see that they did reunion tours where they just played this album.
Yeah,
Well, and I guess they play everything because they don't have a whole lot, but.
Right. The guitarist, the singer also plays guitarist, but just the guitarist. He's played with like a lot of stuff since he's done. He did a project with like Billy Corgan. He was doing stuff with like Interpol for a while, I think.
I fucking love Interpol.
Yeah, he's really like gotten around. The bassist is not a person, I think. And then like the other two guys have been like sporadically doing like stuff since. But yeah, that's I don't really have anything else to say before you guys start talking. So
you don't like the album cover?
Oh, the album cover's lit.
Okay.
It's
damn. I'm about to spar out here.
I like that the dude on the right looks like Eugene. But just like Caucasian Eugene.
I think the album cover is really poorly indicative of what you're getting, of what the sound is.
It does kind of look like Eugene.
Which is something I admire and despise at the same time.
I think it fits the sound.
This looks like a band like Oasis or Blur could have done this exact same album cover. The fact that they're all smiling, except for like 2 of them are smiling and 2 of them aren't really. That's the problem. If they were all like stoic, I would think I'd probably be able to predict what the sound would be. But the fact that they're smiling, I thought it was gonna be Britpop.
It's a very interesting leap, but okay.
I feel like unless something's like obviously a metal cover, I never like look at it and like, damn, I wonder what this is gonna be, and try to like actually guess.
I can't read.
I do it only on the show because you guys don't really preface it. The point is that we don't preface anything until we listen to it. So I always guess, unless I already know. What did you increase then, Chris?
So-
And I'll clean up.
Alright, so I'll guess I'll go into what I thought about this album. So this is honestly one of the most interesting albums I've ever heard. If in good and bad ways. Because obviously, you know, there's shit that we'll get to, you know, the body, which is very interesting, but for very different reasons
For better
than why
reasons.
this is interesting. Oh shit. Alright, so like, cause, I wish I wrote notes.
You
It's
had a
like-
word pad. You told me you're opening up the word pad.
Oh no, that's just like to write the number, the numerals. But I didn't take actual notes this week. Cause, so like, you listen to the album and, so it was very apparent to me. I should start. It was very apparent to me that like the words that were coming out of his mouth really mattered in the context of the album, or at least that they were supposed to, right? So, I did what I usually don't do, unless if I feel like it's in a case like this. I looked up the fucking lyrics. All right. So
So figures I didn't bother.
So, you didn't?
No,
Shit, you usually do. That's interesting.
I usually do if I think it's relevant.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was relevant. So
Spoiler alert.
I hit up Genius,
Okay. What do we
and
got?
I'm trolling. I hit up Genius, and I click on Breadcrumb Trail, and like on the side thing where it's just like talking about the song in general.
Yeah.
The dude wrote like, Slint's opening to this masterpiece.
Oh, they
of
did
an
that
album.
shit?
I started like which I've seen it been done on certain Modest Mouse songs, so I feel like a hypocrite. I really feel like a hypocrite, but
It's always
like,
cringy when it's some shit that you don't vibe with as hard.
it's always cringy when it's some shit that you don't really vibe with, and it's also cringy when it's like something like this where it's like very renowned, and you look at like the number of scholars, and there's like fucking 20 of them. Whereas like on the random Modest Mouse song I'm talking about, like there's only one dude worked on the fucking song. Like it was just, and it's literally just a random ass Modest Mouse song. It's not like popular at all,
Hell yeah.
you know? It's not even like one of like the more critically acclaimed albums. So I feel like I'm not being a complete hypocrite, but I do feel like I'm being slightly of a hypocrite. So I quickly left Genius after perusing that because, there's more shit that was just like, huh? And then on Breadcrumb Trail, there's a whole lot of guesswork as to what the meaning of the album is. The meaning of the lyrics are, and like different like interpretations, like as if it's you're reading The Fucking Stranger or like Heart of Darkness or some
Yeah.
shit.
As if it matters.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I in general don't vibe with that because like I'll come up with what I think about the album independent of like what I think about the lyrics independent of like other people's thoughts generally. And I really don't want to be influenced by like other people's fucking spooky ass stupid interpretations. If I were the nigga to get in like text arguments with people, I'd get in a lot of text arguments with like other fellow scholars on Modest Mouse songs about their interpretations being dumb as fuck.
That
but
sounds like a good pastime.
It is a good pastime.
I get in heated arguments about Modest Mouse songs that I like and other people don't, and about the songs they like.
No.
and that I
It's
don't.
Modest Mouse songs that I understand that other people don't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, type shit. But so I quickly just went to another lyric website that isn't Genius
There we go.
Good.
and read the lyrics there. And I have to say, like, it's he like recycles the same 10 words on every song. It's very interesting. He says queen a lot. He says it's like it's weird. The whole thing almost feels like the one Carly Rae Jepsen album where the whole thing is just about the same thing. It's, I don't know. The lyrics are very strange and but they're interesting in like a very good and bad way. At the same time, like it's very obvious that like he was trying to go for like something that was really like literary in the sense that like The Stranger or The Heart of Darkness are literary, and I think he succeeded on Breadcrumb Trail and Good Morning Captain, but he did not he did not really succeed on the other songs. He especially did not succeed on Nosferatu Man. And Don Amon was kind of interesting, but I felt like his vocal delivery of Don Amon's lyrics did not do the lyrics justice at all. And Washer was straight god tier song because the lyrics were like very simple. Like it was almost like a very generic love song, except he kept it so abstract to the point where it was literally about nothing. And like he just let the instruments do the talking, and that song's really fucking good. And the Good Morning Captain is just like Good Morning Captain is literally like a poem, and like it's literally like whoever wrote any X like it's any like short story writer could have like written that, and it would be like and people would like actually in high school like treat it like it was worth a damn, which is I don't know, I really like that song. At first, so after Googling and going on Genius, listening to the album, I always got salty, like hearing the lyrics, because I was like, the niggas just suck dick too much. But I eventually got over it and was able to like listen to the album more. And for a while, I kind of got to thinking like, damn, maybe this is a 5. Until I realized all it is that Breadcrumb Trail is pretty good, Washer is god tier, and Good Morning Captain is like god tier. And then the other 3 songs are filler. And so I realized I had to give it a 4 and not a 5. And I can definitely see how like post rock people would be influenced by this, but I mean whatever, I don't fucking care. But yeah, 3 of the songs are good. 2 of them being like actually god tier. The other 3 are filler. Nosferatu Man is troll. Don Amon is like half troll, and like I don't know. It's very interesting. I'm still not like fully capable of like taking in what I really think about it like in totality. But I mean, I did like it, and like yeah, I mean some of it's god tier, and I wish more of it were god tier, but I felt like because he was talking a lot on Breadcrumb Trail, and then he mixed in the singing, and then Nosferatu Man and Donna Man were both mostly talking from what I remember, and I really felt like some of the things I read on Wikipedia and Genius support this. This like that he made this, that the songs were like made and completely written like in the order that they are in the album. I don't know if that's true, but some of the things on Wikipedia kind of implied that. I feel like he made Breadcrumb Trail, and he was like, "All right, dog, this talking shit's working," and then he decided to do it 2 more times, and it just didn't work the other 2 times on tracks 2 and 3. But it worked well on Good Morning Captain because he actually came up with something interesting to say. So yeah, I'll take it to someone else.
Oh yeah, so
if I had to,
I think.
Well,
All right, keep
if I had to, challenge any of the things you said, I would say I actually quite like the vocal delivery in Don Amon, especially when it's in like the middle section where the guitar is playing slightly faster, and he's saying the lines like with contempt, and it's like just like the way it's the rhythm of it and like his voice, I really like it. I also like the lyrics in the song a lot, and I think they match up with the song itself well, because they're kind of like like all of these songs are like short stories, right? But that one is kind of like anticlimactic, where like the situation it describes doesn't like.
You're talking about Don Amon?
Yeah, Don Amon.
Oh, it's
he's like, yeah, that one's talking about like he's like.
What is it? He like goes to a party, and then he comes home and he looks himself in the mirror. He's like, "All right, bet," and then like
he like it's like it's very anticlimactic, where it's like you would think like it's gonna like end with like him like getting into a car crash or like killing himself for some dumb shit, but like it's just it's anticlimactic, and it works with the song because like the song does kind of have a climax, but it like never does the thing that you might expect it to do, where it like brings in the drums and it just like and like gets really big. It's just like the climax is just like, oh, the guitar gets distorted, and it's I like how that song works a lot. It's really gets me going.
XD.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not a 4D chess player like Jack is. So I've been having a lot of epiphanies lately, and it's really getting to me. And this is not something I had an epiphany on. This is one of those Mucore albums where you're just like, motherfucking, I don't get it. Yeah, and it's not the fun ones. My favorite thing to do for Mucore albums is, first of all, shit on Radiohead because it sucks. And except for that one mediocre album Cameron showed in the unreleased episode of the last podcast.
Yeah, you're flaming.
And so my favorite thing to do is to hate Mucore that's not in the aeroplane of the sea because it's a darling. It's trying to build a wall or something like that. So I have listened to Spiderland before because you got to go down the list because I'm fucking bored.
Mm-hmm.
And I've listened to the original recording, and I was like, oh, this is whatever. Like, I don't really give a shit. It's not special. And then I listened to this, and the mixings are different between the remastered and the not remastered. In this one, you can hear the ASMR. I can hear the saliva like click in the mouth, and I'm not sure if I like it or I'm like, This is kind of sexual, right? This is like, especially because he's talking, like you can hear. It's like, nice.
You can really hear like just the hot breath.
Yeah. You hear the hot breath, you feel the hot breath, and I'm like, okay, I'm not sure if I really like this. It's like, oof. I agree with Cameron on a lot of spots. Breadcrumb Trail is definitely a lot more interesting than the next two songs. The songs kind of suck. What I like about it is that there's just a couple songs and they're all like longer, right? I think that's nice. I don't think you should try to like just span it out. If you're gonna make something, make it. I had a problem with the length of the last song. I didn't really like it that much, but I think Washer's really good, and I think I liked For Dinner like a decent amount, but I don't know. I just don't think it's amazing. Like I like post rock, but I guess I don't like proto post rock. But the album cover's nuts. It's really good. That's the best part of the album. Besides the intro is really good. But I don't know. I don't like to give things ratings, but give this a hard 5. Out of 10. Like an ASMR out of 5. That's all.
You sounded more positive on it than a 5 out of 10 actually.
Well, I feel like
it sounds like pretty like indifferent out of 10. So.
I feel like if your 4D chess mind gets around it and you're like, I understand, right? This is going to be better than average, but I didn't have that luxury. My brain doesn't work properly, so I don't get it.
I mean, I don't know if I went into this thinking particularly that I would enjoy it. I really have not been too impressed with most of the Mucore stuff that it's very hit or miss. I guess they never miss. They
So fucking
I don't care for Radiohead too much either, and
Oh, I thought you said someone else. Continue.
And a lot of the Mucore stuff that is just okay, I guess. But this is all the Mucore stuff that I didn't listen to before I knew it was Mucore. This is the one where it's really just hit me, and it's oh, my brain is massive. My brain it's expanding at such a high rate.
As the universe is expanding, so is my brain.
And so I think one of the things that the thing that really gets me is this album is it's heavy, and it's all your drone metal and your doom metal guys are trying to go slower and lower and slower and lower, and Slint's over here get that you go mid tempo, you clean guitar, eerie riffs, and you feel like you're being hunted, and it's my mind is just
You feel like you're being hunted?
it's magical.
The loop they do in Good Morning Captain with like the when the bass guitar like practically doing the same thing. It's like the
Yeah.
that shit's insane. But
Yeah. And like like I know you guys have been very negative about Nosferatu, man, but that's actually the song that like I've had on repeat the most of it, because it's just like the beat of it is really just like the prime example of what I was talking about, where it's like it's just like this like lower mid tempo thing where it's like where it's just eerie, and it's just like but and it's like it's an odd timing, right? It's like 5/4 timing, so like it feels strange, but it's still consistent, and it does this amazing thing with the riff where like the very first note of the measure, sometimes they just don't play it, and then like when they do play it, like the drummer will play like one of the cymbals on that note, and it's kind of like this mini jump scare in the beat where you don't know when it's gonna come. It's like it's little stuff like that where it's just like this. It's nuts. It's actually nuts, and it's like the drumming across the entire album is nuts. And if I at first when I listened to this, I thought like, this is pretty great. It's like an 8 out of 10. It's gonna go on my top 100 somewhere. And the more I listen to it, the more I'm thinking like, this is a 10 out of 10. This is my top 10 albums ever material, something like that. Like my brain is actually expanding.
I'm just saying, I've been playing checkers and fucking Jack's been playing 4D chess.
In contrast, my brain probably shrunk 6 to 8 sizes. Whereas, because this, God, well, I didn't mean to cut you off if you weren't.
No, you're good. I think my
I think he got his point across.
Yeah, make sure you got your
Big
fucking
brain.
cut off before I went in. So there's a lot of problems I have with this album. One of the main problems I have is not even related to the music. It's related to the fact that there's a tendency in communities of any media or anything to absolutely suck the dick of anything that came out before you were alive. Like, it's for the people, like I will tell you, and this is something that you could test and find to be my hypothesis, is that I would say that at least over 75% of the people who claim that this album is among the best of all time were not
Young
born
bloods.
before the year this album came out. I would say probably not even born before 1995 at the bare minimum. This is the kind of shit where critics at the time say it's good, it sits around for a while, and then somebody finds it, and rather than listen to it and think about it, they read the review site that says this album's really good, and then they listen to it and they say this album's really good. And so there's no amount of I'm reading the reviews. I read the reviews on Rate Your Music because I always like to read the reviews for
How many were there, out of curiosity?
There's 457, but I just have them sorted. I guess this is sorted by it's not like highest. I don't even know what these are sorted by. It's sorted by votes, it says. But it's not like actually the rating. It's just like how many people voted on them. And the people who write these reviews are the kind of people who write the review. It takes them about 2 hours to write the review, and then they look up words that sound more intelligent than the words they use to write it. Intensity. Such a flavor of word does not only serve notions of tempestuousness, but those of overwhelming, those of a slow-rolling ecstasy from which you cannot escape. By Strawhenge.
Alex, you do this thing a lot where instead of trying to say I don't like this and I'm just gonna justify why I don't like this.
I haven't even gotten to the music yet.
You try to look at the context and be like, this context is wrong.
I haven't even gotten to the music yet.
I know that. I'm just saying you should just get to the music.
Nothing to even do with it. Okay,
you should just get to the fact that this is
this isn't music that you listen to. This isn't music that it's almost not music. You don't sit down at a party or you don't walk to school. You don't do anything and then say Spiderland's the soundtrack. This is shit that exists in a sphere where all music is meant to be. The people who like this album a lot are the same people who hate pop music because it's not Spiderland. It's that group of people where if your music isn't made for the sole purpose of dudes sitting in complete silence and thinking about the album and then trying to one up each other with how deep they are, then it's not real music. And that's exactly what
the
this.
proof that you're wrong about that is literally right here. I like pop music more than any of
Oh
you.
God, let me refer. Sorry. Since Jack
Except
is
maybe
the-
Cameron. Except maybe Cameron. Yeah.
So Jack's the exception to this rule, so that means everything I said about the album's wrong. His singing style, which I hesitate to call anything he does singing, is garbage. There's barely any instruments on the album, and when there are, there's just huge portions of the album are just silence or very quiet noise, and then he reads what is essentially an angsty teenage girl's like didn't get the car she wanted. She wasn't allowed to go. She wasn't allowed to go to the disco on Thursdays with her friends, so she wrote a bunch of really dark poetry in her journal about how much oh man, I'm just gonna read this out of the poetry reading, and I'm gonna say stark with a dark light, that kind of fucking shit. This album, listening to it, I've listened to shit that I previously claimed was the most pretentious thing I ever listened to, but I think that from now on, whenever I see anybody who has Spiderland as their number one album of all time, I'm going to realize that their musical opinion is that if this isn't your favorite album of all time, I remember I can't find the review, but I remember reading a review that said that this is the gatekeeper to like listening to music for real, and that like insulted me almost. I'm not going to claim that I'm a real music critic or that I really, I just know what I like and what I don't like, and I think I have a decent grasp of what other people would enjoy, and I just feel like this isn't an album that you throw on to the girl that you're trying to fuck for the first time, and this isn't the album that you throw on to like your music appreciation class either. This is an album that only serves so that people who are in a community of people who try to one up each other with how insane and deep and indie their album is, they can keep trying to one up each other, and they just say, oh, but you might have your Dark Side of the Moon, but have you heard Spiderland? And it's like, oh my fucking god, like just give it a rest. This album it's literally, as Cruz said, and as Jack alluded to in regards to other albums, I don't get the hype at all. I don't understand why something that's barely music, like, could give you any amount of like a real experience or reaction. Like these people, like the person who took the time out of their day to write "As It Happens," shedding their roots. Oh, that's not the right one. That seems to like this guy's negative review. He did the same thing, but he wrote it negatively. Seems to me yet another case of the fluffy tail of breathless reputation wagging the mangy dog of minimal achievement. Like these people, they feel like that in order for them, if like you're not allowed to like this album a little bit, you either have to claim that this album is the greatest of all time, or you have to use the exact same rhetoric in justifying that it's not. It's just a bullshit album. This album's low effort too. I can guarantee you that this is shit that anybody could make, and the only reason that people believe that this album is incredible is because this is the last one they made. If this
is a spin-off to Singer Died? Singer checked
this
himself into a mental hospital?
If this is actually is that true? Slint came out? Did this one actually come out in 1994? I could be wrong.
1991.
No, but did the EP? It says the EP came out in 94.
The EP was actually recorded before this, though.
Okay, so what I'm saying is that my dad has this opinion too, where everything is much more popular if you put it out and then die, or if you put it out and then break up. If this was Slint's 1991, if Slint made this music for 15 more years, we wouldn't be talking about them at all, because they would not have a reaction. 100%. And also, a lot of these reviews are talking about how this album is disturbing. A lot of these people are using the exact same kind of words they're using to describe the New Daughters album.
We'll get to something disturbing in a second.
Well, no, but people talking about this album. It's like this isn't an album you listen to. This is an album that makes you uncomfortable.
I think this is
makes you feel weird and shit. And it's like it doesn't.
This is probably like one of the best equivalents to the New Daughters album in 1991, maybe.
No, it's not though, because the thing is, if you listen to the Daughters album, and I'm sorry to be comparing something that's at least very different in genre, but at least there's enough reviews that are talking about how the album makes you uncomfortable and is supposed to make you feel on edge and shit. Like, you can't the music itself on the Daughters album, like, you can't help but feel like on edge and like creeped out and disturbed. With this, it's like there's barely any music anyway.
Yeah, I mean, with the Daughters album, like I like the feeling that it gives me of being creeped out. It makes me feel like the two sides of my brain are being fucking compressed, and I
Oh, and
fuck with
also,
that
and this
in
album,
music, and which
this
we'll get
album
to with
is
the next
also
album. But
this album is also guilty of another one of my least favorite. I listen to music-isms, which is you won't get it on your first listen, implying that in order for you to actually like this album, you have to listen to it dozens of times. So that is to say that their argument would be, since I didn't like it the first time I listened to it, I obviously didn't listen to it enough,
yeah, I hate that shit
which is
because
a
like
bullshit
people
argument.
always make it sound like they listened to the album once, they didn't like it, and then they just sat there and
And they
stuck, and
listen,
they
and they
forced themselves
force
to listen
themselves
to
to
it
like
over and
it.
over,
They
and over again.
force
Oh yeah,
themselves to
that's
like
really
it.
bullshit.
But like,
It is bullshit.
I mean, there's
Even
things that I
even
didn't like as much the first time, but what happened was I liked it enough to want to listen to
yeah,
it
that's
again
what I'm
at the
about to
very
say. Like
least.
there are
But
albums that are growers, but there are not albums that are showers.
I first listened to this when I was 15, and this is Gilchrist 707, August 14, 2013, a 4.5 star rating. Rate your music. I first listened to this when I was 15, and up until yesterday, I guess it would be today, like 3 a.m. I did not understand the hype behind this. I always loved Breadcrumb Trail, but other than that, I didn't like connect with this album. But goddamn, I fully understand its power now. That's not a review of the album. You're just saying that, oh, there's no way that I would ever get away with not liking this album, so I'm going to say that I understand it now. I'm not ashamed. I think there's some U4 that's really solid and deserves to be there. I don't think Slint has a place, just period. But it got a 1 star from me. The lowest rating I'll give.
Would you like to
anything
actually say
U4.
something about the music itself now?
Well, it'd be very difficult because I'd have to find it first. But it's just okay. The album plods along. Like I said, this goes back to the whole premise. Is that this isn't music that you listen to. Like, this isn't. You go on a car ride and you're like, okay, I need some background music for this. You can't put on Slint because it's not. It's just it's extremely sparse, and there's not anything. I don't believe there's nothing interesting about it. This album, it's boring. Like, for example, so you could say that there's definitely a similarity, at least in the pace of tracks, between this and the Shark Keep Moving album. They both have extremely slow songs, but the Shark Keeps Moving albums had emphasis on things like rhythm and melody, and I would hesitate to say structure to a degree. But and there was vocals. There was like, okay, we're gonna have these vocals be a part of the song. Whereas here, we're gonna play an instrumental, and then we're gonna have you write some poetry and recite it, so that we're not just putting out an instrumental album. Because if you put out an instrumental album in 1991 and it's not jazz, what the fuck are you doing? I just think this is if you're at home and you think that you might want to listen to it because you should listen to it. You should develop your own opinion about it. But I just can't understand, in the same way that you're asking me to defend why I think the music is bad, I would also ask anybody to defend what they even think about the music is impressive or noteworthy or anything. And I also think that using an argument of like, oh, but for 1991 this isn't, I think that's also a bullshit argument.
I don't care about the year it was released.
It's like, okay, so for 1400
I listened to this in
fucking
2019 and I judged it
I'm not
based on
saying
how my tastes
that.
are.
No, I'm just saying in general. There's people who, like, for example, for an album that came out, what was this? There was a review that was talking about for an album that came out in the 90s. This was the most unsettling thing you listened to, and it's okay. An album that came out in the 90s. It's like, what the fuck are you on about? Listening to Satanic Chants from the fucking 1700s.
This is fucking 2019. Yeah, you ever listen to Gregorian chants, dog?
You ever listen to Russian Mongolian Yoke at 50% speed? Like, it's
a fucking doozy.
I don't think that anybody who defends this album, to the point where their only argument afterwards is, if you don't like it, you don't have a real reason to not like it. It's just I can't defend my viewpoint anymore, because it just goes down a rabbit hole of like, your opinion's not valid because you don't have a real reason. Then it's like, well, yours isn't because you don't have a real reason, and it's just back and forth. Spider-Land, 2 out of 10 is the lowest rating I'll give an album, because that equates to 1 star. 2 out of 10, a low 2 out of 10. Not something I'll listen to. Not something I would recommend to anybody. That album, pointless album. I don't know what to say. Low effort. That's the motto of this album, is low effort. It doesn't take any time or skill to make this. I could have written the lyrics for this album. And the music doesn't seem like it's that intensive either, though I do know, because there's not a lot of it. I can't imagine a concert for this where you just there's just points of silence where he's just reading shit to you. I can't imagine how hyped that would get in the pit.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't want to go see this live unless they played very loud.
I wouldn't go see I wouldn't go see this live because I'd have to be around people that actually like it. The album cover is okay. I really don't have that much of an attachment with the album cover. I think it's alright. I like that it doesn't have the band name on it. And I think unless anybody else has anything else they want to add, or unless Jack wants to retort.
I guess I'll bite.
That was your first mistake, kid. I actually love this album.
Well, I do think there are points on the album that you could say like, oh, the music here is minimal, especially on the middle couple of tracks, Dawn of Monsters.
Oh, like the part of the album where it's just dead air for like a minute and a half.
I mean, if that's how you want to look at it, sure.
Or it's just one bass guitar.
I think that you're really underselling the value of minimalism.
I think that minimalism is a bullshit art form. That's something I should have established at the very beginning. I think minimalism is a vessel by which people jerk off to the fact that the defense of minimalism is that you have to like make your own interpretation because the music's not going to spell it out for you. You got to think about it. It's like no, maybe you should actually maybe you should make some. I think that minimalism is boring, and I think that if something is boring, it doesn't deserve your attention, and if it doesn't deserve your attention, I don't know why people would defend it. That's my flowchart for minimalism, personally.
Even in the more minimal parts, I find the music very interesting on its own, without
I'm sorry to
add
hear that.
any kind of external interpretation to it. I find that there's a lot of interesting interplay between the guitars, where they create dissonance between each other. Jack's
looking up words now.
Dissonance is a pretty chill word.
No, interplay. Actually, no, Cruz hates interplay.
I do also hate interplay.
I hate foreplay.
But yeah, the guitars together, they work together. And
I'm trolling. I like
it's
foreplay.
The dissonance between the guitar parts, even in like the clean sections of the tracks, that's what creates the eerie atmosphere that people like about this album a lot.
So would you say that in order for you to accurately enjoy this album, you have to know a lot about music?
No, not at all.
No.
But okay.
I also find the idea that like this not being necessarily hard to make is I think it's a really like bullshit argument about anything. Like lo-fi hip hop beats to study and chill to.
I fucking love lo-fi hip hop.
Incredibly low effort. It's ridiculously low effort.
And I don't know if you know this. I don't know if you know this about me or not, but I don't sit and defend lo-fi hip hop beats to chill.
Yeah, I know, but I will. I will. These lo-fi hip hop beats to study and chill to is good.
If something is low effort, if anybody could make something, I do not believe that it deserves to be in the conversation for the greatest of that thing. Because it's like, well then, like, so it's not that there's actually anything special about it. It's just that somebody did it. And I think the idea that something has to be incredible because somebody did it is equally a bullshit argument. Like, I think that things should only have praise when things deserve to have praise. And if it doesn't deserve to have praise, then I don't know why it does.
So, like, the thing is like, even if, like, from a performative standpoint, this is relatively easy, which I think you're vastly overselling the simplicity of this, given that,
So, maybe I'll just simplify it and just say lyrically, it's incredibly low effort. I could have written the lyrics for them. I could write lyrics for this album that are more abstract.
Vocally, I would agree with you. I would agree that from, like, the performative perspective, the vocals are very easily. But from the lyrical perspective, I don't necessarily think so.
Abstract art is the easiest art to make because you don't have to make art.
It's not that abstract.
You write shit on paper.
The songs tell coherent stories.
What about that song that Cameron said that it was fucking too abstract?
Well, Watcher doesn't tell a coherent story. I don't believe so.
What I mean,
but the rest do.
I think that you are overestimating how difficult.
Actually, no, Nosferatu Man tells a coherent story, but you have to like actually read it. But
let me phrase that. I think you're underestimating how easy it is to write stuff that people will listen to and pretend is deep, because it's really easy to when you just write a string of words. But alas,
you're so overwhelmingly caught up on like the reception and how people interpret it, and
because it's not just how people interpret it. It's the fact that when you listen to it, it's like, okay, is this, if you have to sit like if at any point it comes up where it's like, where you even have a question where it's like, is this fake deep or real deep? Then it's like, well, then it fucking missed the mark. You should, like, if something is truly there for you to have like an artistic interpretation from it, you're not gonna be like, is this fake deep or real deep? You're just gonna be like, oh, I get it. The fact that there's people who that there is a pocket where people feel like they have to defend the like deepness of this album is that's the pocket that is the bullshit part.
I will say that there's something wrong with like
obviously,
mute as a culture that like
obviously,
causes
if
people
I don't
to be
like it,
oh,
it's
so
because I don't.
deep, but...
If I don't like it, it's because I don't understand it clearly. There's no way for me to not like it because I think it sounds bad and low effort. It has to be that I don't understand the true nature of Spider-Land. But
Well,
I will say that there's something like obviously I don't really go on mute too much because I dislike the people on there for the reasons that Alex is expressing. But I will also say that when I listen to like music, I don't like shit like that never even comes to my head. Like even like the counters to the mute people's shit, like
shit
what
like
Alex
that
thinks.
Yeah,
shit
like,
like that only comes to like when I listened to the fucking Radio Department album, I didn't have to think about that because that's not the only reason anybody knows about the album. Like nobody there had and to be and in my defense, I don't go on mute that often. I'm just familiar with what constitutes mutecore and what the reception is with mutecore.
So what do you think you would have thought if like this wasn't mutecore?
I still would hate it. I still don't like.
Yeah, I believe you still would hate it, but like the spiel would be a lot shorter.
I wouldn't have the entire dislike for it in that it's like extremely like just the whole community around it. I still think that it's a low effort bad album. It would still be a 2. It like when I rate music,
I still don't get how you think low effort is a criticism in any way. I don't get that.
Well, he already gave his spiel about minimalism. It's that simple. Like what he said about minimalism.
Like it being minimal and it being low effort are completely unrelated. There are minimal stuff that's very high effort.
Yeah, what anything. Like I just don't understand how there can be a high amount of praise in any regard from either you as an individual towards it or from a community of people towards it. I don't understand how you can have any level of praise for something that could have been made by anyone and did not have any real amount of, like it does not at least like God, I never had to defend myself so adamantly. It's like if anybody could have made it, which is my part of my definition of what low effort means, as in like you don't have to put a lot of effort into it because it's not hard to make because anybody could make it. That's the flow chart for that. I don't see why there should be any level of praise for it because then it's not special.
I don't think that's like fair because we can get into the whole thing of like if you give infinite monkeys infinite typewriters, they will eventually create the works of Shakespeare.
But that's not low effort. Yeah, that's extremely high effort.
Yeah, but anyone could have done it.
It's the concept where it's like people who you have like somebody like I'm trying to think like you somebody like The Weeknd or somebody extremely popular, and then as soon as The Weeknd drops an album that gets really big, you have 1,000 people do the exact same thing that The Weeknd did with extremely low amounts of effort, and if any of those blow up, it's like, well, why the fuck did these blow up? Like they're not putting it like they didn't put any effort into it. They're doing a thing based on something else. And there's also low effort in that we were a band who played in our garage, and then we recorded this album over 4 days in a studio, and I wrote some J. Cole fake deep poetry and put it over my song.
Okay. So not only do I agree with Cameron that it's like the entire anyone can do it low effort. Let me finish. Not only do I agree with him that the entire low effort anyone can do it thing is not fair, I also don't think this album is low effort or something that anyone could have done. The drumming on this album is incredibly technical. I wouldn't say technical. It's incredibly well. It's incredibly it's incredibly good, especially given that the average person could never drum in on time. Couldn't just never.
How many songs on this album have drumming in them?
All of them?
Less than half.
All of them except for 2.
All of them except for 2.
So except for 1.
I don't. Okay, I know Don Amon doesn't have any. I don't. Is there?
I think Don Amon is the only one that doesn't have.
extremely sparse drumming in Washer. So that's it's what 6 songs on the album. 2 of them, one of them has no drumming, and one of them has what I would describe as extremely sparse amounts of drumming. So that's
But the thing is,
66% of the album.
the album is a whole work. Do you think that the average person could walk up to a drum set and play Nosferatu Man?
I think that the
Do you
average
think
person.
that?
I think that.
Do you think that, Alex? Do
drummer,
you think it?
I think that it's. I think that you, in an effort to defend this album, are thinking about things
Alex
in a way
does not
different.
think that anybody can go up to the drum set and play.
No, I think
odd
no.
time
And the thing is, when I say
But
anybody,
that's literally what he said.
To clarify, when I say anybody, I don't necessarily. I mean anybody who's in the same sphere. I think that anybody who would identify
different.
themselves.
That's completely different.
That's
Like,
completely different.
It's still low effort. Okay,
I disagree with your definition of low effort.
You
just
think
like,
that the greatest
from a
works? You think that the
linguistic
greatest
standpoint.
works of all time, like in anything, you think the greatest pieces of art ever created, like even like regardless of the amount of work and like precision and prowess that went into them, you think that should be independent of it at all. It shouldn't matter at all what goes into it. The only thing that matters is the end product.
a lot of the
Yeah.
best
In
songs
terms
ever written-
of rating any art, you think the
a lot
only
of the
thing that
best
matters
songs
is the
ever
end product.
written are could be effectively communicated very simply with just playing the bass line on a bass and sing the melody over it.
You think that the
Everyone
only
can
thing that
sing,
matters in
anyone
art
can play.
is the end. Like it doesn't like knowing the
Yeah,
context of
I do.
anything doesn't
I
matter.
do.
It's only what it looks
I
like.
I do. I don't
So
think
why
that.
do you even care what I think then if you completely disagree with it anyway? Like why?
I'm trying to get in your
Well,
head. I'm trying to
because
understand
this is a podcast and we're supposed to
No,
speak
no,
words.
what I'm saying is if you don't care, like if it doesn't matter to you whether or not anybody could play anything on this album because the only thing that matters is the end of the album, then why does it matter to you if any like that nobody would be able to that no average person in the whole universe would be able to play the drums on whatever song that you were just talking about?
I mean, there is a degree to which, you know, as a musician,
I mean, you can respect
myself,
technical skill.
There's
Like, I
yeah,
don't
there's a
know.
respect to it. I don't care in my judgment of the end product that the technical skill was necessary to make it or not, but you can appreciate that on a different level. It's just it's like, you know, if I'm trying to like, for me personally, if I'm trying to like rate a meal, I'm not gonna care about like the plating and how it looks on the plate, but I'm sure I could look at that and be like,
Yeah, some bougie shit.
you know, just because it's like there are different ways to appreciate things, and the primary way in which I look at and judge a album as a whole work takes into account the technical prowess needed to create it very little. But
Which
that
is
doesn't
fine.
mean that I can't. That doesn't mean I can't appreciate that technical
And
prowess.
and by using your analogy, if I'm not saying that you're not allowed to enjoy a TV dinner, I'm just saying that if you go to a 5-star restaurant and you order the chicken Kiev and they give you a TV dinner, you're gonna be like, why did I pay $150 for a TV dinner that I could have made at home?
If that TV dinner tasted like $150, it's fine.
I
Oh,
would disagree with
TV
you in
dinners
that I
by
don't believe that.
definition will taste like $150.
Yeah, I don't believe that TV dinners can taste like $150. But
Well, I mean,
we have one other album to talk about, and I'd be more than willing to get into you with this afterwards if you want to meet me out back. But we do at least have one other
Check DMs.
work of auditory media to discuss, and I feel like we've already taken up. Maybe we should have had this one last.
Yeah, I didn't know Slint was gonna be 45 minutes, dude.
Yeah,
I knew it was gonna be bad.
know.
I knew it was
I'm
gonna be bad. I didn't know that I was gonna have to defend
I'm
myself on
concerned
everything
about
I
the
said.
body, dude. I thought that was gonna be interesting.
Oh,
the
is
body
this,
will
this
be
one, the
interesting.
body's also garbage, but for different reasons.
We'll get to
I
that.
feel like we're at least more in agreement that the body is complete garbage. For more on that, Cameron.
You
the
might be
body.
able to see. In conclusion, well, this might come up in about 2 seconds. Who the hell knows? But I will say that I don't think it matters at all if anyone like. And this is like a deeper philosophical thing, but I don't think it matters if like anyone could have come up with something because at the end of the day, most people wouldn't have, and the people that did, like, they did it. So, like,
So
who
all
cares?
art is just a product of luck.
No, you have to like use your brain and think about shit. Like they didn't just like dice roll into this album.
But the only difference between the people who made it and the people who didn't make it is that the people who made it thought about making it.
Their cognitive processes and their life experiences led them to making this album.
Yeah, that's another thing I was gonna say. Like, it's not like technical skill isn't necessarily like, the thing that actually matters when it comes to like the idea of could someone else have made this. Like, art is fundamentally all art. The technicals don't matter at all. What art is a series of decisions about, hey, do I like this or do I want to make this or this? And fundamentally, like, yeah. And from a technical perspective, there's probably lots of people who could have made it Spider-Land by Slint, but from like the mindset perspective of who would have made the decisions where they said, I like this riff at this tempo, with this tone, with this blank, with these lyrics over it, with performed in this way, like the amount of people who made that specifically to create this kind of experience is not big at all. It's probably 4 people. The members of Slint. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me reevaluate my opinion. So let me, in closing, I'm much too stupid and have too low of an IQ to understand the clear genius that goes into Slint.
I'm glad you understand.
Yeah, and, I'm glad you understand.
Retroactively, I should honestly go and just edit the rating to be a 10 instead of a 2.
There we go.
Because if I don't understand it, then obviously there's something more going on, and it can't be that there's nothing to understand.
Yeah.
But talking about nothing to understand, Cameron, I believe you have the last album.
Yeah. Alright, so I have fought against it, but I can't any longer. It's an album by The Body. The Body are 2 Negroes from somewhere in New England, I believe. They started out doing more of like a doom sludge metal thing, but they evolved or devolved, depending on who's asking and who's telling. Into being more of like a noise band, and they kind of went into more of like a fuck a genre mentality, which I respect. 2 big fat niggas. I like fat people that make good music. That's like my favorite kind of fat person. And like these 2 are big boned. The Body was actually created, I believe, if I read things correctly, all from them sampling like other things that they made. From what I understand, I'm not entirely sure. It's at least like all just made out of samples in general.
You mean this album or just this album?
Yeah, this album.
You said The Body, which is the band.
Oh yeah. Dude, I don't give a fuck. Dude, I'm really bad at actually remembering like album titles that we listen to. I was just thinking of it as like the Streetlight Manifesto album, or like the Nelson Poblete album. I never like, which is strange because we're supposed to be talking about the albums, but who the like whatever. Well, let's see. How do I want to get? So obviously, when you listen to this, I should get into how I found this first. I actually don't know how I found it. I believe I found it from related artists, like off of Street Sex. Probably just clicking a little and just coming off of this. I should actually type in Street Sex to see if like they are related artists just chilling there. They're not. At least not right now. Who knows? I think
but they are related artists for Primitive Man.
Primitive. Oh, that might have been it then. It probably was. So Alex showed me Primitive Man. So by proxy, Alex showed me this XD.
God bless.
Way to go.
God fucking bless you. Way to go.
In my defense, I also don't like Primitive Man.
Life comes in cycles. In my defense, I also don't like Primitive Man. Primitive Man is I don't like dislike it actively, but that's besides the point. So I found this and I thought something looked interesting. So I listened to like their most popular songs, and at the time it was mostly songs from this album and one of their 2016 albums, No One Deserves Happiness. And like, so interesting enough, the I guess this would be the good time to get into it. The certain noise that is featured on most of the songs on this album is also on every single song on No One Deserves Happiness. So since their most popular songs were mostly like from these 2 albums, I was like, what the fuck is this?
Do you mean
right?
the screaming
the
vocal
screaming?
thing?
Yeah, the screaming. I don't know what other noise is as pertinent or as
Yeah. I mean, I was assuming it, but
ear
I just want to
popping.
confirm. You know?
Yeah. The screaming. So listening to it, I was like, each song was like, okay, the screaming is here. Okay, this is from a different album. The screaming is here. Okay, this is from the other album again. The screaming is here. And you just keep going down. And the whole thing just has that screaming. And I was like, what the fuck am I listening to? This shit is stupid as hell. But I also I really fucked with it. And so I kept listening to it, but I tried to get into the actual albums, and I don't know, it's kind of hard for me to actually get to focus on listening to an actual one of the albums the whole way through. But I think 3 weeks ago I was chilling. I was like, dude, let's just do it up, because I found this band probably multiple months ago, a few months. So I was listening to the albums, and I don't know, something hit me then. I was just especially I would listen to No One Deserves Happiness first. I went to I Have Fought Against It, and I Fought Against It was just wait, there's something happening here. This shit is insane. The fucking I love so they have a couple different female guest vocalists that they work with a lot. No One Deserves Happiness also had the same main female vocalist that her name's Chrissy Wolbert, I think, something like that. And so they utilize her a lot. I like her singing. I like the instruments. I like the juxtaposition between her singing and the fucking screaming. And the screaming is so troll, and but it's troll in a way that's actually I actually fuck with it, because I feel it doesn't distract from the actual music itself. It actually just works very well with it. And even though it's comical, it also just creates the sense of fucking chaos, and also it gives me motion sickness when I'm on the fucking train. And it does all this crazy shit, and I just this shit is fucking bonkers. And it keeps going until I feel Blessed Alone is the climax of the fucking album. And then it goes into Sickly Heart of the Sand, and then you get hit with the troll shit at the last song. And oh my fucking, I'll get into the troll shit at the last song later. Or the monologue rather, because I actually looked up where it's from and all that. But I'll get into that later. But the fucking, I don't know, the more I listen to shit like this, Street Sex and the Daughters album, it's just it's just it fucking does something to my brain that you just can't get anywhere else. To me, this is almost it's almost I might agree with Alex, it's almost not music. This shit is just some it's fucking, I can't explain it. It's just it's just brain torture, but ear pleasure at the same time. I don't know how to explain it. That's probably the best way that I have to explain it, but I don't know. This shit it's so fucking good. This is on my top 42. It's actually low down there. I predict that it'll increase over time. I'm not really sure, but I don't know. It's whew. I'd love to hear y'all's thoughts.
All right, let's front load this.
This album gets me fucking going.
We're gonna fucking front load this. Okay, so this album's sick. This album's fucking awesome.
Yeah, another reason why I picked it is because off of Bare Nest, Crew said that he wanted some disgusting shit for metal, and this isn't even really metal, but it's metal adjacent. So I was like, fuck it, he might like this.
It's so
keep going.
Fucking good, dude. There's not. So I've never heard anything like this before. I've listened to some of the noise albums that are recommended and around, and those fucking suck. Right? Those just eat shit, and they can eat shit and die, because this is better than anything I've ever heard in any kind of similarity. I don't feel like it's even close to Street Sex. Just maybe in the way you get a feeling out of it. God, it's just so ridiculous. Especially what Cameron said was how they intertwine the screaming, which is not. It is not comparable to screaming vocals. It is literal screaming. As someone is like you
Yeah.
walk in and a kid is actually stabbed like a.
I'm still
like a
not
knife
sure
through their
whether I believe it is like one of the dudes is like a guitarist and a vocalist, and he's like doing that screaming and then like puts it through like some distortion and all that. And before I actually like did my research, what I thought it was just like they came up with the noise and were like, you know what this song needs? Some of this, and they just go into fucking free loops and just hit that shit. It's not even them. And they're just like, all right, we're gonna do it here, but apparently it's not like that. But fuck, it's so good. It's actually screaming.
It wouldn't nearly be as good if they didn't have like the female vocals like that were like they. So for me, I think that the first through 4 songs are build up to Nothing Stirs.
Yeah, Nothing Stirs is like
And
the
Nothing
most popular
Stirs
song.
is ridiculous. Like I think the first couple 4 songs really just like gets you into like this is what we're doing, this is how we're doing it, and we're gonna show you what we can do. And
they just
they
culminate it right there.
And they hit you. They slap you right in the face. And it's just such a great fucking listening experience. Like, if you can't get past, like, the tone, that is not your fault. Like, that is just what you probably should. You should probably hate it. You should
if
probably
you're any
dislike
part
it.
right in the head, you should hate this album.
You should be like, this is not music. Like, who pays for this? Like, who are these people? Computers should have never been made. Science has gone too far. Like, this is something that you can be like, this is bad.
I literally like dropped $50 and starved to see this shit live. Oh my fuck!
So good. It's like there's nothing that I've heard in my whole life that's like this, and it just culminates like that. There are things to be experienced in life like that. I think that everybody should. I think you should actually listen to this album a full way through, and you should probably hate it. If you don't hate it, you're fucking. There's something wrong with you.
If it makes you feel any better, there's an entire genre of music that sounds completely indistinguishable from this that you can get into now.
No, it doesn't sound like this.
It really doesn't. I know
it.
It's indistinguishable to you, but holy fuck, is it not?
Because
I've listened to Harsh Noise and it's just like
it's not Harsh Noise. It's literally drone music. What you'll notice is that it's not that they're playing a variety of different sounds at really loud volumes. They're playing the same sound for the whole song.
Yeah, but it's still like drone music still just doesn't. It's not the same. I'll go on my own. I'll go on my own time and find you 10 drone metal albums that will sound indistinguishable from this for you. Dude,
so you
I want 10. I want 10.
Yeah, I want 10.
You can have them.
I want 10.
All right,
we'll have 10 next week.
I second a lot of Cruz's thoughts, except I have to say this album would be God tier if it didn't have that fucking screaming sound. It's
so good.
Zach's gonna fucking hate it.
It's so bad, but it's not.
Hates it. But
it's not bad. It's not bad. It's not
shit.
bad in the way that like it wants to be bad, where it's like, oh no, it's screaming. It's supposed to make you feel uncomfortable. No, it's just bad. It just sounds bad. It doesn't sound.
It's so
creepy.
fucking.
It's like that scream sound completely deflates any tension that this music could
have
have possibly gotten.
Oh, no, it's fucking it makes me laugh and it also makes me fucking like
cringe. It hurts.
Makes me cringe. It makes me like my brain fucking
hurts.
Want to explode at the same.
It doesn't actually sound like the scream of a person who's like in fear of anything. It sounds like the
no.
scream. It sounds like he's laughing. It sounds like he's fucking laughing. I hate that screaming sound, and the fact that it was through the entire album was literally killing me. Which makes me very angry because everything else about this album is like solid. It's like I love the female vocals on it. I love the harsh vocals, which I think is also the females. That's the females.
Yeah, I know Nothing Stirs is a different female. I believe Nothing Stirs is one female, and then the rest of the album is another female.
Right. Yeah, The West Has Failed is really good. I enjoyed Blessed Alone a lot. 10 Times a Day was a good meme at least.
That's a good song. You're a hater.
I'll get to it.
But it's just like, as soon as I first heard that scream, I was like, Okay, this is bad, but this is one track, right?
It's only the first 3.5 minutes, man. You can get through it. It's not the next 46.
Oh, it's not even. That's the best. It's not even on the first song. Like I think it starts on the second or the third song.
I was like, it's literally troll as fuck. Because it's not on the first song, you think it'll only be the second song instead of the rest of the album.
It's like on the other album, it's literally every single song. I'm almost positive, but I think it's better that like it just doesn't do it on the first song. It makes you wait for it. Oh my god,
it's troll. It's troll as fuck. It's just really, and not only I like the scream is not I don't think it's even like a bad idea to have like a sound that goes through the entire album. I don't think it's a bad idea to have that be a scream for this kind of genre, and I don't think like the post processing done on it with like the distortion was bad either. I think the scream itself is a really fucking awful choice. It's just overwhelmingly awful. And yeah, that's basically the album for me.
I love it. That's why I wanted to come into here, but Alex is gonna give us some 4D shit.
Yeah. I need a less than 20-minute rant. Okay.
I'll give you. I don't like the way the album sounds. I don't like drone music. I think that hating and being disgusted by everything on the album is a reason to not like the album, not to like the album. It's not music for me. I don't understand how this is music people can listen to, and that's it.
That's it. Hell yeah.
Like, I don't even have more to say than that because any argument that I would even have would just be met with I don't even.
I mean, yeah, it's not even like you can change my opinion. It's not like I have something fucking logical to say.
Well, and the only way you can defend it is that's understandable. Because
honestly, to 100%, it's not even understandable because like this shit, it like takes me to an astral plane.
Yeah, what I'm saying is,
I get the same feeling when I listen to this album when I listen to the fucking Teal album.
What I'm saying, what I mean to say is that everything I don't like about this album is everything that you guys like about this album for the same reasons.
Yeah,
which I think is
for me, the screaming, like being humorous, is just like Blueface and Viper just on repeat. To where like I think it's funny and I also think it's good.
I also have just to be fair, I have a really strong disdain for industrial music, and I especially hate drone music as a genre. So this really wasn't a great meeting of the minds for someone like me. But that's all I have to say about it. That's all I was really gonna say about it anyway, if I'm completely honest.
I will say, earlier you were saying about like how you put Jack onto something that really influenced him, and you put Cruz onto something that really influenced him, and that you technically put me onto Street Sex, but that didn't count. But I really think like you're never gonna get it. Like it is Street Sex. Street Sex was the influence. And like,
well, I just the reason I said I don't know about Street Sex is because I don't know. I didn't know how much Street Sex adjacent stuff you listened to. I figured it was mainly Street Sex.
Well, like I mean, it is mainly Street Sex, but now that I found like this because of Street Sex and the Daughters album, it like exists. Like,
I mean, by that same extension, I don't necessarily think that I really had that much of a huge impact on Jack because I don't think he listens to a whole lot of stuff that's in the Jamiroquai van outside of Jamiroquai. But Cruz doesn't have indie music without me showing him in the airplane over the sea, so I always have that.
It's to the point, like, if someone just asks me what music I listen to, I typically, I duck the question, but I'm just gonna show him this album now. Because, like, what the fuck else matters, dog? Just listen to this shit.
I also have a really strong disdain for... I have a lot of strong disdain for a lot of extreme metal genres because a lot of it is just how abrasive can we get, and for some reason that means it's good. But that's kind of the same. That's basically what I said about not liking industrial music or drone metal. But, you know, I digress. This is another 2 out of 10. We had two 2s and a 7 and an 8.
So I guess I will explain 10 times every day, 10 times a day, every day is Stranger.
Okay, yeah. Hit me with the fucking low facts.
First I have to start with fucking album cover. Actually fucking God tier. Because, like it's just like horror movie shit where like they're at like the makeout lane, right? And it's just like it just has that gate
It looks
there.
like the entrance to
Dude,
get
that
the,
just looks like
to
to
get
the
Matt's
entrance to
house.
Chapman Manor, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was
just
gonna say
the
the Matt's
Chapman
house.
Manor. Well, which, I mean, there are one of those there, but like at nighttime, it just looks so fucking like foreboding, and like like there's an infinite amount of bad shit that can go on at that exact location.
Because you have to get out of the car to get past the gate.
Yeah, and it's so fucking good, and I fought against it, but I can't any longer. It's just such a
That's
good ass
good.
song title. Yeah, I love sentences. I love
Good album
sentences
title.
as album and song titles. I fucking love sentences. Like I just sentences just get me going. I don't fucking know, it's a writer in me or some shit. But 10 times a day, every day a stranger is an excerpt from a Czech album, as in like the Czech
Czechoslovakian?
Republic.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me pull up the Wikipedia. The name of the book is Too Loud a Solitude. I will say Too Loud a Solitude is a short novel by Czech writer Bohumil Hrabal, self-published in 1976 and officially in 1989 due to political censorship. It tells the story of an old man who works as a paper crusher in Prague, using his job to save and amass astounding numbers of rare and banned books. He is obsessive collector of knowledge. The book was translated into English by Michael Henry Heim. So it was just an excerpt from that, and essentially like it's just a suicidal dude that like keeps trying to kill himself. And which it's kind of troll because written from the Czech, a lot of like my beef with it makes sense in the sense that a lot of it like it sounds, the language sounds like very simple in the sense that like a middle schooler could have written it, and I feel like it doesn't do what is being said justice. But at the same time, knowing that it was translated from the Czech kind of forgives it because I don't know how many big words Czech has. And but the repetition of like things hurting, I fucked with. Like, I like the idea of just the fucking bus hurting. And just like him trying to put on his shoes, just that hurting. And I like how he doesn't like look himself in the mirror when he shaves. But I mean, some of the sentences are just like kind of trolling, like the way they're said. I feel like I could literally revise it to be better, but I won't. But yeah, I like it as an ending. So yeah, I mean, that's it.
What's the shit he says? I've reached the pinnacle of sadness or some shit like that.
I reached the peak of emptiness. I reached the peak of emptiness, and everything hurts.
That's hashtag mood right there.
That's hashtag mood.
That's hashtag relatable.
Well, I think this has been a productive episode
Yeah.
of WLTM Portable.
It was definitely portable and it was definitely moving.
like the sharks, you know.
If you like this episode, you should watch the other episodes. There'll be an episode next week. Playlist
Wait,
will
there
be
might
in...
not be. There might not be because we are going somewhere.
Oh shit.
You can just do it on Friday, nigga. Oh.
No,
but-
we're leaving on Friday. I mean, if you
Oh,
want to do
true.
it Thursday, we can do it. But like,
Nah, I don't know about this shit, but there might
we
not
just
be.
take a 2-weeker. All right,
Shit.
we'll probably be back the week after next.
The playlist will be in the description. Hit the fucking bell.
Fucking
I
radical.
hope everybody has a good day. Keep warm, keep dry, and
Oh, my back hurts.
keep chilling.